Frame. We in frame? Are we live? We are live. Wait, you got to do it with us, Jess. Bam! Bam! Let's do it. Bam! What's doing, guys? Back with Fresh Vinyl Live. First time we're actually live on YouTube since I think it was January 2016. But yeah, we're back at it. Back in saddle. We're getting things fresh. We got a lot of shit to talk about. A lot of toys. We got a list of topics we'll go over after we do some introductions here. I'm Richiso, as you guys know. Here we have
Jessica Etchells, also known as Queen of the Monster Arts.
Queen of the Monster Arts.
Brendan Hoagland, first timer, really nervous. Gojira 101 on Twitter, otherwise non-existent.
Bam. David
Eric Dobko from Seattle. You know me from my photographs and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm looking forward to another show.
Bam. John Bumpus.
Yep, that's me. Skryonk.com. Or if you ask Rich, skironk.com.
Look.
That will never die.
I never said I was a scholar in pronunciations.
It's my favorite thing in the world, so don't worry about it.
Every time you remind me. And Kyle Yount.
That's right, Kyle Yount from the Kaiju Cast, director of Hail to the King, 60 Years of Destruction. Yeah, I'm here. I'm so glad we're doing this again, man.
Absolutely. It's been a while. I almost forgot how to get the ball rolling here, you know. So
do you guys like things and stuff?
We like things. I like vinyl things and other things and smelling things and petting things. All right. So now that we got introductions out of the way, thank you for everyone that's tuning in. We're going to be talking about new X Plus figures. We're going to be talking about the current status of our collections, like where have we been and where have we gone in the past, year or so. Remember, the actual technical last Fresh Vinyl Live was at G-Fest, so it's been a while even since then. We're going to talk about important figures to us within our collection, Sentimental, whatnot. We're going to talk about Monster Palooza. We're going to talk about Chiller, and probably something else I probably forgot. So does that sound like a plan? Good. And we're gonna do our best to not step over each other, but but it might happen. So let's knock right out of the park with the newest X Plus stuff. So it's been kind of a quiet year so far. We haven't really got anything until the 25 centimeter Titanosaurus, which I have right here. So who picked this one up besides me?
It was a pass for me, but I'm still contemplating it.
You?
I'm poor. Very poor.
All right. You can't.
Sorry.
Just.
But I like it. I like yours. I just vicariously live through you. So I come here and just basically touch all of your vinyls and then try to take them home in my car, but it doesn't work out usually. So I live through you.
I know where you live.
So
I can come visit them. Oh. Bye. Mrs. Fresh Finals going grocery shopping. And we're going to sit here and do what we do best. David, did you pick this guy up?
I did not, because I do have the 30 centimeter, and I still really like the sculpt on the 30 centimeter. I have not seen this one in person. And usually what happens to me, my MO is I'll see someone's in person and hold it, and then I'll not be able to resist buying it. So far, I have not seen it in person. I think someone is sending one to me to fix a paint scuff. So I will have it in my hot little hands at some point, and then I'll make the choice whether to get it or not, or keep both or whatever. But it looks really good from what I can see.
Very good. John, did you get one?
I didn't. I passed because I have the 30 centimeter as well, but the more photos I see of it, the more I will be picking one up in the future, because the paint app, I think I much prefer on the 25 centimeter. I think I like the sculpt better on the 30, but I think the paint is by far a vast improvement on the 25 centimeter. Show.
Kyle, I saw you raise your hand. You picked him up?
Yeah, I got the standard because, as a lot of people know, I generally will collect the 25 centimeters over the 30s, just because I like to have more shelf space available. I do already have the 30 centimeter one, so pretty shortly I'm imagining that I'm going to sell that guy, and just have my 25. He's great looking.
Yeah, I really, like everybody said already, John specifically, the paint job on this one, it's going to be kind of hard to see on this actual video here, but from the review and other pictures everybody's seen, the paint job is really knocked out of the park. The detail on his dorsal fins here, the veins and everything that are poking through look really well. They're also translucent, which came out really, really nicely done.
It's super subtle. I love it.
Yeah, looks really good. And I got the Rick with the closed tail, so that's how I'm displaying mine. And just remember, if you do have the 30, don't heat up the tail on the 30 and try to stick this one on the 30 because it doesn't look right, and it made me feel really stupid. If you know that story, I felt like a real dum-dum. So
Rich, in a nutshell, it seems like the sculpt, as John said, is a little superior on the 30, and the paint job is better on this one. It seems like the antennas are a little short to be suit accurate on this one, and to me personally, it seems a little bit squat compared to the 30 centimeter. Just little teeny tiny nitpicky things, but it's the paint job that sells it, from what I can hear from what you guys are saying.
Yeah, the antennas are definitely shorter on the 25. Not sure, maybe it was just harder to sculpt them on a smaller figure. Where knowing like everything with a 30 centimeter figure, you can get a little bit more detail cranked out of that. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen 30 centimeter figures have more detail versus something smaller. Like, I really can't imagine them getting these any thinner and longer without them being droopy and everything and bending all over the place. So it doesn't really take much away from it at all. So it works.
You know what I don't like about the 30 centimeter one? It underneath the sort of, let's just call them the pectoral chest plates, there's like all these like super black veins going down. And it just sort of doesn't remind me of what I saw in the movie. Like those might actually be there on the actual suit if you were to see it in person. But to me, I don't want to say it kills the 30 for me because like I loved getting it when Diamond re-released it. But I definitely prefer the paint job on the new 25.
Yeah.
Here, I've got mine right beside me.
Oh, cool.
Are you talking about on the sides there? Those guys?
Yeah. Those.
Yeah.
Is that not on the 20 centimeter? Is that not on the 25?
This is a 30. And his sweet chesticles here. Because they're enormous. But yeah, they're really defined. I know exactly what you're talking about, Kyle.
So there's no vein patterns on the 25 centimeter?
It's there. It's just more subtle. For some reason on mine, at least, on my 30 centimeter, they look super pronounced, right? Like there's not a lot of extra color around those veiny cracks or whatever they are. Yeah, and on the 25, there's a nice even sort of like brownish spray around those. So it's not as in your face. Although, yeah, you can see them in John's right there, on the 30.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, that's my only gripe with the 30, aside from its size.
All right, moving on to the 30 centimeter Burning Godzilla. This figure just came out. I haven't even had it a week. And it is glorious. Even looking at it on pictures, in the video review, and even right here on the camera, it's not really going to do this figure justice until you see it in person. Jessica, you mentioned it just as soon as you picked it up, so you go first.
I love Burning Godzilla. It's probably my favorite incarnation of Godzilla. From all the pictures I've seen online, from when this thing's been released to pre-orders and stuff like that, pictures don't do it justice. This figure is absolutely gorgeous. The detail, it's in my opinion the best Burning Godzilla X Plus has done. I didn't get the 25 centimeter because I didn't think it looked good. I have the giant stylized figure, but this one, for me, it blows it out of the water. I didn't order it yet. after seeing this and holding it in person, I will be picking this up soon.
See, CX Plus. I should get a commission. Yeah. You keep going also.
Again, like you've said before, this isn't a figure that you want to put lights in it. You know, holding it up to the light, you can see through the darker paint. It is a orange vinyl they used. But even still, I mean, the detail is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't even say enough about it.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I was completely wowed with it when I opened up the box. I'm like, huh. And the one thing that I'm glad was, you know, just right back out the window is that when everybody started getting the figure, you know, they're like, wow, this is really nice. Compared to the first pictures that we saw in the X Plus group, it was, you know, some collector got his first, he took pictures of it, and he used flash photography, and it made the figure not look as appealing as it does in person. You know, so, you know, flash kind of kills. So,
but again, these are people that are just, they're like, oh my God, I got it. I have to take a picture of it.
Yeah.
They're not worried about the flash or,
yep.
I mean, let's face it, they're not David.
Yeah. So that's why I say, you know, don't judge a figure. Don't judge anything until you actually have such and such, you know, in hand. And it's nice to see that this is, you know, some people saying it's figure of the year already. And it's definitely going to be a contender, if anything. I mean, I just can't stop, you know, looking at him. I mean, he's definitely commanding your attention from the shelf. So it's beautiful. Like Jessica said, it's all made in translucent vinyl that's painted over. Earlier in the week, I pulled the leg off just to see what it would look like if you put a light up inside, and lots of bleed through. But I'm not even factoring that into this release because it wasn't intended to light up. So I think that was a smart move from X Plus because the way they painted it with the burning effects, very nicely done. And if any of you guys that haven't picked it up, you know, you guys here live with us and everybody watching at home, when you get it, Rodney, you know, just a little shout out to you. I know you said you're waiting on yours. Yeah, you're going to effing love it. So it's awesome. What do you think seeing it in person?
So it's strangely enough, actually, Burying Godzilla is my least favorite iteration as an opposite spectrum. Don't judge me too harshly, and if you do, so what? No, but holding it first time, like, getting experience. I know I heckled you when you end up getting it and you're doing that video. And I think there's still ways that you could end up lighting up. If you really wanted to go that route, you could do like a red LED and be able to do strips in it. But that's for somebody who wants to, you know, DIY, whatever. Impressions of it, like I would have to say is, again, the least fan, this is probably the nicest one I've seen in your collection. As far as they go. I'm very novice at this, but just the paint detail itself and the way it bleeds through and the way there's a real warmth for the translucent pieces was a great choice. Yeah, he's just overall captivating. And more than anything, I think, is the eyes itself. I think that's what sells it, is those eyes just grab you right away. Because that's the first thing is that I remember from watching the movie, or if I just remember it, is that those eyes were just glowing with warmth. It was something different. So even though I'm not a huge fan, I can respect that, and I really enjoy this in hand. Like if you have this, put it somewhere where you can catch the light, and this will do just, it will scream. It will scream. It will just be a centerpiece. Yep. It seems so far. And that's even coming from a fan who likes the light up version of Legion, things like that. But this one just, it says volumes.
Yeah. I love it. So anybody that didn't pick one up, the standard was what? Crap, I don't even remember. It was probably around maybe $200. I'm not even sure. I ended up getting the Rick. I don't have the Oxygen Destroyer with me right now. It's upstairs. But that Oxygen Destroyer that came with this one, it looks really good. You know, it's painted with chrome finish and green tint on the casing. So that came out really nice. And I've mentioned in the review, if you know, oh, where did they come up with this idea of X Plus for, you know, this Rick Extra? It's from the opening titles of Godzilla vs. Destroyer. And again, you know, shout out to Mark Calloway. He pointed it out, and I was like, crap, he's right. I was like, man, it just makes me realize how long I haven't watched Godzilla vs. Destroyer. But, you know, it's, yeah. It's nice to see, you know, X Plus still, you know, diving into the films to get their inspiration for, you know, the figures and the Rick Extras, which is really nice. So, solid release. And it's nice to get a full-size 30-centimeter figure again, because this is the first 30-centimeter Godzilla figure that is not a Yuji Sakai that since, well, and excluding the Godzilla 2014 figures, since the 30-centimeter Godzilla 2000, which came out in December 2013. So it's been that long since we've had a traditional 30-centimeter Godzilla figure. Me and Vince Elliott, we were going back and forth. You know, it was like trying to figure out, yeah, when was it? And it was the Godzilla 2000. So that long ago. And it was, you know, and then when we saw the box art, you know, again, that's the first time since that Godzilla 2000 release that we really got the traditional 30-centimeter style box art with the Godzilla, you know, specifically. So total throwback kind of, you know, feeling here. Full-size 30-centimeter figure, shelf commanding your presence and everything. So total fresh, certified fresh from me. Bam. David, did you get one?
You know, I did not, because I think that the one I have, Giant Burning Godzilla, Gigantic series, is by far the best one that they've come up with in that series. And just to, you know, reiterate what we were saying, you can't really judge it until you see it in person. I actually passed on buying the Gigantic Godzilla, and we were in Japan. Kyle and I were in Japan doing the Hail to the King, and at the actual exhibit with the Godzilla merchandise, they actually had a X Plus Gigantic Burning Godzilla in the display, and I didn't even realize that it was the one that we could actually buy. And I asked Brandon, "What is that the one?" He's like, "Yeah, man, that's the one." So the first thing I did when I came back is I made sure that I grabbed one, because seeing it in person and seeing it online or seeing it in, you know, even in video, you just can't tell how good it is until you actually see it in person. So I did pass on it. I'm sort of medium about the Burning Godzilla. I like it and I don't like it. I like parts of it, but I really do think that they did do a pretty nice job on this. And the Oxygen Destroyer, which, you know, would have been one of the main reasons I would have picked it up, because I love just seeing the Oxygen Destroyer created, because that's such an iconic piece too. But yeah, no, I think it's great.
David, I remember when you were hunting for an Oxygen to Destroy and you finally got one. So you do have the one that came with the Gigantic Burning Godzilla, right?
I do. Would you like me to? Do you want to see it, or shall I go get it?
Sure.
All right. Chotomate kudasai.
All right, we'll move on. John, did you pick up the Burning Godzilla?
No, I didn't, and I like it a lot. I think if I find a good deal on one in the future, I think I'll pick one up, just because I'm such a big 30-centimeter fan. But you know me, it's very rare that I pick up something Heisei. I'm pretty much limited to a few Biolante things, and outside of that, I'm not a big Heisei person, much more of a Showa and Millennium fan. So it was a pass for me.
Roger. Kyle, did you pick him up?
I did not. It's just one of those things where I think it had to do with the amount of money that was about to go out of my bank account and into X Plus's bank account. So I passed on the Burning Godzilla, but what I will most likely do is pick it up when Diamond almost certainly re-releases it here in America.
Good point.
Kyle, Roger, yeah, you're right. Probably we'll see a Diamond reissue of this in the next, who knows, maybe next year. So another opportunity to pick it up then if you missed it in the initial release from Japan. So, David, you have your Oxygen the Destroyer?
So this is the Rick feature that came with the Giant Burning Godzilla initially, and it's super, super realistic. Having seen the real Oxygen Destroyer in person, it's pretty much identical to it. And the way it comes kind of stuck in the middle of a rock that says Godzilla versus Destroyer on it. And I actually made my own base for it, so you can see it a little bit better. But It is a great piece to have, and I absolutely love the Rick feature. Sorry, am I interrupting you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm sorry. I was responding to Mike Tchaikovsky of Vampire Robots. He was asking, "What the fuck is this panda thing over here?" But we'll talk about that in due time. I love how it's just facing the camera right now. So we'll get to the panda thing. Sorry, David. I hope we didn't distract you from that.
It's totally fine. I'm all good.
That's why I'm muting us here when you guys are talking. So there's trying to limit the distractions. But yeah, so now with your Auction the Destroyer from the Rick one, that's 3 Auctions and Destroyers we have now. You know, and hopefully that's it. I can't imagine them reissuing another Auction the Destroyer at another point in time. You know, who knows what's going to happen when Yuji Sakai eventually does the Burning Godzilla from his line for X Plus, because that almost seems inevitable at some point. And that's another one that a lot of people are talking about. When the Yuji Sakai,
insane. I saw it previewed as the model kit. What was it, released last year?
Yeah, the newer one, not the older Kyoto. No, not the Yuji Sakai. His older one I thought was 20 centimeters.
I don't remember.
Does anybody know?
Yeah, so Kyoto definitely released a Burning Godzilla, like not a figure, a kit, right? So it was made in translucent red vinyl. They had some other versions, I think, too. But that sculpt is definitely Yuji Sakai. It came out a really long time ago, and it is like shorter. It's like a little bit bigger than a Bandai figure, I think. I'm actually looking at mine in the case back there. Definitely not anywhere close to an X Plus scale.
So which means that if we get a Burning Godzilla from Yuji Sakai, it's going to be the newer one.
Yeah.
That I think was shown last year at one of the festivals, I believe.
And the sculpt on that, it looks phenomenal. I mean, the Yuji Sakai line alone, all of his figures are incredibly detailed, as everybody can attest to. But I was super impressed with the Burning Godzilla.
Excuse me. All right, somebody asked about the panda again, which we'll get to soon. It's not mine. Kyle has one, and my friend Brendan owns this one right here. So just enjoy staring at his beautiful face until we discuss panda. Okay. All right. So what else is coming from X Plus? Let's talk about that and who's getting what. We have a lot coming, a ridiculous amount coming. Right now, I think John Stanowski, he already has his GMK Ghidorah, so that's getting into collectors' hands as we speak. So mine's on the way. I went standard with that one. And you guys getting that?
No, I passed on it.
Passed on that?
Yeah, I'm going to have to pass on that.
GMK Ghidorah?
Oh, I totally got it. I ordered it the first day it went up. It's not my favorite Ghidorah design. I don't really think it's anybody's favorite Ghidorah design, but that's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I was all over it. Like white on rice.
White on rice. David?
No, I passed on it. I'm a big Showa King Ghidorah fan, so I like it. It looks great, and I do love the movie, but
it looks so good. Well, I'm just hoping and praying that they release the other 2 from the set, and then if they do, I'll have that full set, and I'll just be the happiest camper in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Kyle, you getting one?
Yeah, same boat as John. I actually I got my payment request in from Hobby Search. I'm actually putting it off for a little bit. I'm like, how long can I put off that payment request before they just say, hey, deadbeat, we need
A
you.
week.
Is it a week? Okay, good to know.
It's a week. I know from experience.
Yeah, seriously, I just got I had 2 just gigantic box days this week, and those gigantic box days came with a pretty hefty price tag associated with them, plus the stuff I picked up earlier this month. This has just been a really hard month for me money-wise.
John, Mr. Hartman says your hair is beautiful. Oh, no, it's amazing. He said it's amazing. James Hartman. You have amazing... John, can you actually do like a slow motion wave with your hair for us?
the fair
Why
fossil.
don't we film that separately? I'll just come up there to you, and we'll just do one-on-one, and then we'll give the people what they want.
All right,
Nice.
that sounds good.
Motion capture.
Yeah, motion capture. Oh goodness. Hi, James.
Hi, James.
Mr. Hartman.
All right, so GMK Ghidorah is on its way. We have
Gabara.
Finally. So I guess I could say this now that we know it's coming, but when we were in Japan, we were at Kaiju Sakaba with G. Okamoto, and, we asked a couple questions about, this, that, the other thing, and I asked, like, is Gabara coming? And he said, they were working on it, and I was like, okay, I assume he knows, we were on a clear understanding of each other. So I was like, wow, we're finally going to get a Gabara. And this was back in, December 2015. So now it is 2017, and we're finally getting a 25-centimeter Gabara, a very much long-awaited figure that a lot of us X Plus collectors have been waiting for. It's going to be awesome. It's actually going to be the very first Gabara figure I own. I have no Gabara figures at all in my collection to date. So that's going to be awesome. It's going to be, the Rick is going to be Minya, a goofy little bastard that he is, from 1968, Godzilla's Revenge. No, 69, sorry, 1969. And you just can't help when you look at him. You just kind of hear, like, his goofy voice in your head. Godzilla said I should fight my own battles. I was like, yeah.
What's going shit? I don't know.
That's the only.
Godzilla's mad at me today.
Yeah, so it's gonna be great to have that version. I have a couple other versions of Minya X Plus wise, but how could you not go Rick for his little goofy ass? So I'm picking him up. That comes out, I think, in June. June release date. Standard's probably about $95.
It was supposed to be May. Did they bump it to June?
Maybe it's May. I can't remember. There's so much shit coming out. I can't keep track of it. I just keep getting the invoices. It seems like it's going to be like every week I'm getting an invoice. So it might be May. I think you're right, Kyle.
Make it rain, Rich.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just
Rain for X Plus.
Yeah, like I gotta go in the basement and find more shit to sell, just to keep up on my X Plus tabs. Because if I don't sell shit, then Jess is gonna be like, I adopted David your method, but we'll go into that in a little bit later. So Gabara, you getting him?
I passed on him initially, but now I'm second guessing that decision. So I might go standard if anybody has an extra one, but it's not on my priority list.
Again, it'll be a piece of cake to pick them up.
Yeah.
You
get tons of people that order them and then sell them right away, so I'm not worried about the demand.
No, yeah, plenty. And
he is not high on my list, but so there was a scenario that will actually worked out, just as you were saying. There's a dip low enough, and I think this would be a big investment for with my son. Would love to have that thing, because I don't know how many times I see him just walk around doing that all the time, and I'm just like, that's my son. Awesome. So again, I'll pass. I will say yes to something eventually. Trust me. It's coming.
So basically, what we're saying here is I need to really work on getting you collecting. We'll have to get your wife past the point where it doesn't really matter what she says, and you get comfortable. So like, honey, I'm getting it, and that's the end of it.
So you've already made a mistake. Your actual way of leveraging things so that my wife would say yes is more so going towards my son. So you need to pull him aside and then basically get him to be like,
mommy,
do this thing. It'll be amazingly cute, and your mother will just break. Like literally, like ice cream will melt in front of you.
I have an idea. When I get the Gabara figure, I'll bring it over and let him hold it, and then he'll walk to your wife and be like,
it will be like a kitten with stars in its eyes, just holding it, and the angels will descend upon him, and she'll probably say yes.
All right, see, we have a plan.
You need to work.
X Plus figures are a good investment for your son's future educational
Yes.
Finance.
In what way, I don't know how, but I'm sure just in the Twitter me it.
Sure, I'm just giving you breadcrumbs. You can figure out how to build it on your own.
I need to find it. I'm a lost child. I'm a Hansel and Gretel.
All right, David, are you picking up Gabara?
Absolutely. I want to have one representation of every Showa kaiju, and it's about time. I had a beautiful Gabara model kit that I did with Steve Saragioli. He and I sort of did a combo. He did the eyes, and I did the rest of the kit, and it came out so beautiful, and I don't know why I sold it, but I did. So I need to have a Gabara in my collection, and I like you, I don't have any in my collection right now, except for a little Iwakura cast one. But that's pretty much it. And I'm going standard because I already have more than enough Minyas to last me a lifetime.
No.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No. No.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
you.
You can get the Minya. And I'll
me, David. Why you like me? Oh, sorry.
Hey, man, whatever floats your boat. I actually have it in the 25 centimeter that came with the 68. So it's pretty close to the same figure. So I got one in the scale. So, yes, I'm looking forward to it. It's about time. We need more Gabara in our lives.
Awesome, awesome. John, obviously, I would believe you're saying yes to this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Gabara is coming home to Papa. I love me some Gabara, and I have the Sound of Godzilla set, and that's my favorite Minya incarnation. I've got him in 25 centimeters, so I'm doing the standard. But yeah, I think there were two that we asked about on that trip and that meal, and it was Gabara and Kamacuras was the other one. We ended up getting him mid last year, which was super exciting because that's one that we've all wanted for a long time too. So to see Gabara coming to is pretty freaking awesome. And he's like $90 after the current exchange rate right now. So the standard's a pretty solid deal for the quality that they put out. I can't wait to have him on the shelf because, I mean, we're all huge Showa fans, but David and I know pretty specifically stick mostly to Showa stuff. So Gabara is hotly anticipated here.
Awesome, awesome. Kyle?
Yep, I'm definitely getting him. Is this the last figure that they need to release, the last Toho kaiju that has not been released in a 25 centimeter, at least non-Godzilla stuff, at least?
I think so. I don't really.
I feel like it is. Like, I was sort of just mentally going through the movies, and I think they have released every Godzilla opponent and friend in 25 centimeter scale. Now they just need to start tackling the other suits that they're missing from that scale, and then
are you talking about? You're talking about just Showa, right?
Just Showa and just 25 centimeter.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you might be right. That's interesting.
I think I am right. Anyway.
Yeah, my memory bank is flashing.
I think he's right.
We'll get back to you on that answer, everybody that's out there wondering. But I think there's not much aside from like a King Kong figure or a Frankenstein. You know,
Sure. Yeah.
probably not going to see that happen for a long time, if ever.
Yeah, I guess King Kong would be the only one really.
Well, actually, wait a minute. They did not do a 25 centimeter Space Amoeba, aka Yogg series yet. They did the older version of it, which looks good, but a newer sort of the way they do things now version of those three, that's still not here yet.
Okay, that makes sense.
Ganime, Gizora, and Kamebas, we still need those in 25 centimeter. You know, aside from the ones that they already did a long time ago.
Are you talking about the Bandai Museum set?
Yeah, the Bandai Museum stuff. That's the closest we have to them. So
I mean,
yeah,
X Plus did sculpt them. Yeah, so you're right.
it's X plus Bandai, but so no, we actually don't have those to actually fit with this series. So
I have the Marmot kits, but if X
Right.
Plus put them out, I think I would probably part with the Marmot kits, as awesome as they are.
I mean, X plus Gizora would be pretty sweet, I think.
Yes, it would.
But just the Godzilla series.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay.
And then, but branching out, I mean, dude, who would not love, sorry to dominate the conversation about 25 centimeters, but who would not love an awesome Frankenstein? Oh, I'm dying for a Frankenstein, realistic
Amazing.
Frankenstein figure.
Or a Kong. I mean, a 67 Kong or 62 Kong would be just like, I would be so stoked for that.
I know everybody would eat up the 62 Kong.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wait,
All right,
there's
so
a giant condor.
yeah, Hail Condor.
There is a giant condor, but he was
Yeah, it's a Rick extra.
a Rick extra. Yeah, and he was
That doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Totally counts. It means X Plus made it.
No, we need a big giant condor.
We're gonna fight
What
about it.
the giant octopus?
They kind of did make that with the Ultra Q series. There's a Sudar. I've got him right up here. You can't see
That's
him.
right, they did.
I promise.
Also, they have the 25 centimeter hedger coming out.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're getting there. I probably should have wrote a list because I'm probably going to forget something. So take it away.
I could pull up the list.
Yeah, we got a long list. A long list. So we got the new hedger coming out, 25 centimeter. You know, I guess some collectors are a little bummed that it's not a reissue of the landing stage, but I still have a vibe. You know, I don't know. I just have a hunch that eventually we're going to see the Godzilla 71 and the landing stage Hedra pop up at one of these summer Wonder Festivals or the Winter Wonder Fest. I mean, it's like the ideal opportunity just to get that set out there, those two figures. So
God, I hope so.
the guys that want a landing stage, don't lose hope. It's going to happen sooner or later. It has to. I just can't imagine it not happening.
Well,
Most definitely. Most definitely.
with the new pictures from, what was it, Wonderfest that just happened in Japan, it looks like we're getting a new 71 Godzilla also.
That was
They've done that in the past, though. They've done that in the past where they've had something from a movie on display, like a new figure, and then they bring out the old one. Now, the one thing that I will say about that is that sometimes I've contacted G about that and said, dude, are you releasing, for example, Jet Jaguar, right? So when they had the 73 on display, they had a Jet Jaguar on display. Or vice versa. And I asked, and the response back was like, oh, no. You know, the molds are just, old and destroyed, too old. And then the next thing I know, here comes a reissue of that same figure. So I definitely wouldn't put it past them to eventually reissue that. But I think at that show specifically, they were only using it as a counterpoint or, to have it in the same scene with Hedra.
You know, the good news is for that figure in particular, Hedera is so popular in Japan that anything surrounding or related to that film is probably going to see the light of day again. So I'm almost positive that we're going to see that Godzilla released again at some point. So hang in there, guys. It's coming. I don't have one either. I have the Godzilla, but I don't have the Hedera. So I'm almost positive it's coming at some point.
I hope so.
So new Hedra, we got Kaiser Ghidorah, we've got Jessica's pulled up the list here for us. What's next? We got GMK shipped, Gabara's next, then Kaiser Ghidorah. Those are both coming in May, which is going to be ridiculous. So that's going to be an expensive month.
The new Final Wars Godzilla.
25 centimeter Godzilla 2004. So so July we got 25 centimeter Godzilla 2004 Hedra. And the new Super Defo Real, whatever, the Super Deformed. Yeah, it's a crazy name. It's just the Defo Real or something. The Super Deformed Shin Godzilla is coming out, fourth form, which I don't know about you guys. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed Shin Godzilla. It's all right, we're talking, so we're on the mic. And I love the design, so just to see like the super deformed version of Shin Godzilla Form 4, like I love it. I can't wait to get that little bastard. And I thought about buying two of them so I could bring one to work with me, just so this little freaky thing on my desk. So that's coming out. The new 30 centimeter Mechagodzilla 93 is coming out, and maybe it was like a week ago where they revealed what the Rick extra is that comes with Garuda. So that's going to be amazeballs.
The Garuda alone looks like it's a 25 centimeter figure.
Yeah, it's in scale for Mechagodzilla. So technically, it's a 30 centimeter scale Garuda.
Yeah.
Technically speaking. So those of you that wanted the Mechagodzilla, the Rick, you can't take the Garuda off. It's going to be attached and fixed to the back of Mechagodzilla. So that leaves like a dilemma with us nut jobs. Like, oh man, but I want like a clean Mechagodzilla 93. So what do? You get a Rick and a standard, and really just show how psychotic we are. That might be me.
It's okay. We know.
Yeah, I have a problem. I have a problem, and I'm not afraid to admit it. So actually,
Right.
this is like therapy. This is like almost a fresh vinyl anonymous for me. But so what?
We enable you more than anything.
I enable myself.
Well, yeah, I push you into go to.
Yeah.
No. It'll be
It's like,
okay.
all right.
You can smooth everything over. It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't care.
I was we were talking about it the other night, and I made a comment like, "Oh, like which way do you go, Rick or Standard?" And Burley, he was, he made it hard for me. I was like, "Fuck!" He's like, "Oh, you got to get both of them." Is basically what the comment was left at. I'm like, "Shit, this is not really helping me make a logical decision to just get one or the other." So I was like, "You're gonna end up getting both." I'm like, "Urgh." So, yeah. So I don't know.
Well, as you always say, when in doubt, Rick it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm definitely ricking it definitely going to have to Rick Mechagodzilla 93 without a doubt. If I'm going to get a standard as well, that is yet to be determined. I guess. I don't know. I kind of feel like I've made my mind up.
This is a crazy year for X Plus. I mean, I can't remember the last time they were coming out with this much stuff. But the really cool thing about right now is it's a really wide breadth of eras and of kaiju that they're coming out with. So it's helping some of us, not have to get everything, which is great because I'm not a Final Wars person at all. So thankfully I get to skip the Kaiser Ghidorah and I get to skip the 2004 25 centimeter. And I think my least favorite design from the entire Godzilla series is Mechagodzilla 2 from Super Mechagodzilla from the 1993 film.
Me too.
Just like out of everything that they've ever done at Toho, I think he's my least favorite design. He looks like Mecha Big Bird to me, and it just bugs the shit out of me how cool the Showa design is. And then that's what they came up with is like this round beer can Big Bird. And it makes me angry if you can't tell. And then, they come back to it with the Kiryu design, and it's like the coolest thing you've ever fucking seen. So I don't know. Thankfully, there's a lot of easy passes for me and a lot of things I'm really excited about because otherwise I would be like Kyle right now, and I would be on a street somewhere selling cocaine for more vinyls. Sorry, dude. I keep giving your secrets away, man. I'm really sorry. I gotta keep that on the DL, man. When we were in Japan,
This is not incriminating, is it?
Oh man, we don't do drugs, guys. Please don't do drugs.
Just say no.
Yes, just say no.
We just sniff vinyl. That's
Exactly.
it.
Never mind. We do.
I do agree with John about his description of that Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
It's like, what was Toho thinking?
I really don't.
Budget.
They were thinking about a pony keg.
Exactly. Yeah. Or a mini fridge, or a washing and dryer. Yeah. Something. It's an appliance.
I just read an article where Kawakita was going to kill Mothra off in the movie before and then bring Mothra back as Robo Mothra or Mecha Mothra. And I'm like, why couldn't we have had that?
Jessica, I might not be mad that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's not really something that we're really looking forward to seeing. Maybe.
They're going to save that for the legendary movies. Robo Mothra, America.
Well, I mean, I think it would have brought something new to the table. I mean, Super Mega Godzilla is it's new, but come on, give us something else.
Wasn't it South Park or The Simpsons that did Mecha Barbara Streisand?
Mecha Streisand, yeah.
Yeah.
I totally made a figure of that.
It definitely made way into pop culture, so that's pretty cool. One thing I want to say about Rick before we finish, you didn't mention, I don't know if anybody's getting it besides me, there's a special Wonderfest Rick that Jessica actually saw in person. The light up dorsal plates of the G2K. They reissued it with a new paint job. It's the poster version, and I'm definitely getting one of those. It's got an open mouth, and it has the dorsal plates that glow red. Kyle and Jessica both saw that piece, so I don't even know when that's coming. I ordered it a long time ago, so.
It is on the list for if you go to the X Plus website. Me and Kyle did see it at Super Festival when we were in Japan in January. Me personally, I didn't really care for it, but I'm not a huge fan of that suit. But I know many other people are. But yeah, that for those of you that do want it, it is an interesting take on that figure.
How very diplomatic of you in your review.
Well, I happen to love that suit. That's one of my favorite incarnations of Godzilla. I love that millennial, mean, reptilian, angular dorsal plate thing. And it's basically the same figure, but what they did is they sculpted with the mouth open, and they painted it so it has red highlights to it to go with the red glowing dorsal plates. And it's supposed to be based on that poster version, the Japanese poster of the film. I'm not sure whether it was the original poster or the B poster, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. I can't wait to get my hands on that. But that'll probably come when Gabara comes and everything else comes. So it's all
yeah, that's a May release.
Yeah, that is a May release too. Okay, cool.
That one right there.
That one.
That's it. Yes. That's the one.
Nice.
All right. So, John, what else you got? What other things do we have coming out? Upcoming releases.
We've got the Kamata-kun second form Shin Goji SD figure as well. You talked about the Shin, but outside of that, that's really like what it's officially announced. We've seen some other sculpts and things that they're brewing on that are coming out in the near future, but we've hit everything that's coming out as far as we know within like the breadth of the summer. They've also got the banks right now. They're doing the Gamera and Barugun and a couple of Ultra banks in a new series that they're trying out. And the Gargantuan busts just came out, and those sold out immediately. And I think that was a really limited run that they did. So whoever grabbed those, congratulations, because I'd imagine those are going to be worth a lot. And I see people hanging on to those. So a lot of really interesting, I think they're trying a lot of really new things. We've all talked about this quite a bit, but it's weird to see them dipping into so many different pools of types of figures with the SDs and the busts and all the kits that they're getting to that we never thought they would touch. The Sakai line, gigantic, 25 centimeters still going strong, 30 centimeter coming back. But I mean, it's more the merrier for us. And I think it's a really cool way for them to figure out what people are going to respond to and what type of things they're going to be able to sell to expand their market, and which is great for us, which means they're going to be able to afford to create more figures than they do already.
Yep. We forgot to mention one gigantic release that's coming, which will be the gigantic series Burning Shin Godzilla.
Which Burning Shin Godzilla?
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
So, yeah. So, gigantic.
Never mind, I'm out.
Nah.
Yeah, that's right, because they showed that, in Japan. Cool.
Yeah, they showed that at Wonderfest, and it just looks like the most incredible sculpture, stylized, but it still looks like the figure. I mean, I can't wait to see more detailed photos of that, because I think that's going to be a non-negotiable, a must-have for me anyway.
Yeah. And then the new 30 centimeter Godzilla 91 in the Yuji Sakai line, that's coming too. So much stuff. It's like the beginning of the year was like overly quiet, and all of a sudden, bam, coming right at you with left and right figures. Sometimes, it looks like 2 a month for April, for May, for June, and into July. It's just utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, because then if you put the diamond releases on top of that too, it's just insane. Because we're also getting a new Millennium sculpt, brand new sculpt from Diamond.
Yeah,
for
that's right.
Godzilla 2000.
I forget the make of the original.
KOC, yeah.
Yep, that one.
Oh, right, the KOC model kit, which I already have. It's basically a reissue of the model kit that's built. So Right, I forgot about that too.
So that's it for the major new releases, not including some of the reissues and whatnot. So we'll wrap it up there with X Plus because it's just ridiculous. Everybody that's watching, you already know what's coming. So just prepare your wallets, prepare your excuses to your significant others. Oh, I don't know where it came from, honey. It just showed up. I mean, I couldn't give it back. Whatever.
No, that one was there. It's
yeah. I've had that one already. Yeah, I'm at the point where if I put something on the like my wife Jessica, she thought I already had this. I'm like, yeah, I had it already. Sure. Oh,
we've all used that so many times.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I tell Jess, I'm selling some stuff so I could get some stuff. But so let's move on to where we're at with our collections. It's been a year since we really sat down and had a good discussion about this. So, Jessica, where are you at?
Before we move on, I just wanted to show real quick my hand sculpted Mecha Streisand figure here and Ultraman Leonard Maltin that I made back in like 1998.
Okay, those are everything.
Dork alert.
Everything. Those are great.
Okay, now we can move on.
Kyle, I'm coming over and we're going to do a fresh final review on those two.
Perfect.
I can't wait to hear about the process that went into those. Yeah. Now, okay. Where we are with our collections, the current status of what we're doing, where we're collecting, what we're focusing, yada, yada, yada. Jessica, take the floor.
Okay, so again, everybody knows I'm the queen of the Monstarts. I have basically every single Monstarts they've come out with. There's a couple of new ones that have been released that I haven't been able to get yet, like the special Shin edition that came out with the DVD release in Japan. They just came out with the Super Mega Godzilla, which comes with Garuda, which the original didn't. There's a couple others here or there that I'm still waiting on, but I will have them all.
All of them.
Face it, I'm a completist. Other than that, I've been focusing on my Angulus collection. Everybody knows my love for Angulus. When I went to Japan, the owners of M1, we went to their house and they showed us everything they have, which was an incredible collection. And Yuji was kind enough he just kept on reaching onto shelves and handing me Angulus after Angulus after. It was incredible. He literally made my collection grow by leaps and bounds. I'm getting a couple X Plus here or there, but they're not really my main focus. That's pretty much it for me. I mean, again, I'm gonna get this guy here, but yeah, that's my focus.
Bam. All right, Brendan.
What's up? How you doing?
I already know your stance on collecting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I tried to tail it down. I have a lot of other hobbies and interests at the same time, and a family. But I know for sure coming up that gigantic Shin, I'm gonna have to work that into it in a big way. As far as my collection is, I tailored everything down for the most part. But the Monstarts, everything Shin, I'm really in. I still have some of Monstarts I didn't sell, like the Ghidorah and my GMK. So they're sitting on my desk at work along with the other Shin. I'll probably come home. I got your Shin. I've got like two other. Yeah, so I got I think two other the Shin Awakening versions coming in because I want to do a little scene where it's just the lasers, the vomiting of flames, which is amazing, the upright, and then all the little guys. And I have these two here, which we'll talk about later, I think. And other than that, I'm really trying to keep it smaller because now that I have Rich as a friend, I really don't have to buy anything because I can just come over here and play with it, take it home when he's not looking, and that's it.
Wow, we've had fun laying on the floor like 7-year-olds playing.
Totally,
yeah.
We're just lucky those photos haven't gotten out, as far as I know.
I know.
I mean, all those cardboard, towers you were making, they were amazing.
Well, actually, I saw another collector. He actually, Stephen Craig, I believe. You can go on Google and building templates, and we can print them out, and we can tape on like pop-tart boxes.
I'll do it. Yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be great.
Like I will totally regress like a 6-year-old and just play with them. Boom,
yeah, man.
Smash.
That's what I used to do. I used to take pop-tart boxes, flip them inside out, take a Sharpie, and draw windows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and then we'll
we'll fight about it, and I'll end up taking your toys, and like you'll realize it afterwards. Like, wait a minute.
Like, this ain't mine.
It's not mine. And then the only other thing I still have, and we'll get to that later, is my Sentimental GMK Gigantic series. Means everything to me.
The Gigantics, that I forgot to touch on that, but the Gigantics are an Achilles heel to me. I've got every single one of them, and I love giant figures.
I think it's something about is just like for me, I don't know if about you, but it's just something that just draws you right in. You can have like a large collection, like you have something that spreads along. Even in art, like there's just something you gravitate towards and you just want it there. Like mine is on a pedestal at home. You don't miss it. You walk into my house and there he is. I feel like that satisfies me for my own personal collection needs is that it's a cornerstone. You walk into it. It's part of the house. It is a temple almost. It is a icon. I'm worshiping it. Like, it's amazing. And I'd be like, oh. And then you have a story to go with it for me personally. So I don't need a huge collection because I'd be poor as dirt.
Sorry.
So I know you're getting every X Plus.
I'm actually, I'll be honest, like I'm trying to be very smart about what I'm doing. I'm not picking up the gargantuan busts. I'm skipping those. So I'm trying to be smart on what I'm doing. I've actually sold off most of my SH Monster Arts collection. I just got to a point where, you know what, like I'm not going to be a completionist with everything. Yes, I am a nutcase when it comes to X Plus. So selling off my Monster Arts, the ones that really just didn't do it for me, was a good thing for me because now that money's going towards new X Plus releases. Because I am a sicko with that. As we know, there's probably some Bandai figures that I'm going to be willing to let go of once I could get it down into those. Yeah, maybe some of the theater exclusives, some of the duplicates that I have. Maybe, like why do I need 3 standard Godzilla 64s? Actually, I could probably sit here and tell you why I do need them. But I'm just trying to be smart about what I'm spending here. So I'm not afraid to sell stuff. I mentioned earlier, David, I adopted your method. If one's coming in, then one's going out, which has been a great method really in the past year or so, because before G-Fest last year, I sold off a bunch of duplicate 6-inch Bandai figures. I sold them, Sean with Showcase Daikaiju, he bought a bunch of them off of me, and that helped with newer X Plus stuff because it just seems like a smarter deal, and more so on top of it, once I finish the basement, I don't want the room to look like, plain and simple, a clusterfuck. My old room in the condo looked like a clusterfuck, and I hated going in that room. It was you weren't in there when it was all out, and there was just so much shit in there. I had all the boxes from the X Plus stuff. I had everything on display, and I felt like I could never get it it could never look neat. It was just shit everywhere, and that's not what I envisioned for when I have my finished basement. My idea is you've seen the pictures, but the rest of us, we've all been to X Plus's office in Osaka. Their wall.
Not me.
Oh, you weren't there. I'm sorry. You've seen the pictures. But we saw what their wall looked like with those glass shelves with the X Plus, all displayed about. I love that setup. So I want a classy setup. So to get what I want, then I will sacrifice some things for other things and let things go. I just don't need to have it all. I kind of feel like that's just an overrated way of collecting, I guess, unless when it comes to X Plus. I have a problem.
And you should showcase it. I mean, because you have such an amazing collection to look at it. Like that, all those figures, like a lot of them, they need to be lit. Like they need to sort of just scream like, "Hey, I'm here." Yeah,
I want nice shelves, not the ones that I have up there. Those will go away eventually.
I was gonna flip on it, but say they're terrible.
But I want some nice lights coming down on them and everything. So that's the current status of my collection. X Plus is upstairs. Everybody watching, usually it's behind me. But the rest of everything, it's in the basement, still packed up. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to shut up now because that's that. David.
So, I'm kind of hearing what you guys are saying, and I'm on the same page. It's basically, I've been collecting for over 25 years now, and I have a lot of stuff. And for me, it's all about nostalgia. Things I pick up in Japan, things I get from gifts, things I get at shows, things that are signed. Those are the things that are most special to me. So they will always be a huge part of my collection. But basically, like you said, one in, one out. There's just so much, and you really have to choose what you love. And I absolutely agree with Brandon. The big giant figures, they have an amazing presence. And the only problem with that is they take up a lot of room. And my collection room is pretty small. I mean, several of you guys have seen it. And I really don't want to expand from that room because then that's getting a little crazy. So I still collect, vintage lobby cards, posters. I just got an awesome Japanese Valley of Guanji original movie poster from 1969, which I really love. So I'm really limiting the stuff that I'm getting. I used to get anything and everything and then hold it. And then if I didn't really like it, then I'd sell it. But that's kind of inconvenient too, because the market is flooded these days. So just being really particular about what I buy. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think I'll ever stop, but I've definitely slowed down, and I'm a lot more selective of the things that I choose.
Yeah, I think it pays to collect smarter. And David, I think all of us, we've said this, it's quality over quantity, and I'm definitely adopting that method.
Yep, so. And I actually sold my SH Monster Arts Violante to Jessica, right?
Definitely.
I did.
She's right on the shelf.
Yep. So the special things, the signed things, the things that are gifts, those things are what I'm really focusing on now. And I guess we'll talk a little bit about that later when we talk about our sentimental piece that we have. But I guess that was a nice segue into that, right?
Yeah.
But we'll hear what John and Kyle are doing first before we tackle that.
John, you're up. Where are you at with your collection?
Oh, hi there.
Hi.
So this guy, I don't know. You're talking about lighting. If you can see everything in here, it really does make a big difference. Turn some lights on back there. I always forget to turn them on. But I collect Hot Toys and Sideshow Star Wars stuff. That's what's behind me here. I also collect the Weta, Lord of the Rings, and Hobbit stuff. I'm a raging nerd on many fronts. So unfortunately, I have very expensive taste because they're pretty much all the most expensive lines of collectibles in the 1/6 scales that you can get. So I'm really pacing myself with everything. Otherwise, you just become an irresponsible man-child. And we like to do a lot of outdoor stuff, and we do a lot of gardening and landscaping and stuff too. So this is personal, and none of you care. So here I go to talk about toys again. As far as collecting, I'm doing the exact same thing David and Rich are doing, one in, one out. I haven't gotten shit for collecting things in many years because I always sell things to pay for whatever's coming in. It's getting a lot more difficult now, though, because I've gotten down to pretty much everything that I don't want to part with. So but what that does is it really makes me think before I press that order button. Instead of just getting things because I really want it, I make sure something sells first. I just sold a small Gimli statue to pay for the Hedorah here in a couple of months, just because I'm a huge Hedorah fan. And like, I really want that set of the landing stage to be reissued in the 71. I've got the Monster Heaven figures, which in my opinion are just as cool, but I'd love to have the X Plus too. But yeah, things that are signed, like this was signed by Akira Takarada's son last year in Chicago. Amazing. So is this, and a lot of things that are either signed or like when the four of us were in Japan together, you know, I got the CCP Baragon at Astro Zombies. You can't find these things for sale anywhere, and I saw one on the shelf while we were there, which was pretty incredible, so I had to get it because CCP never made that figure. It was reissued by Medicom. So really, if I buy something now, it's because I really, really want it, and that's about it.
All right, very good. I remember when you bought that Baragon at Astro Zombies. You almost debated about it for a little bit, but you know, if I remember correctly, maybe I don't remember correctly, but I remember you buying it. Very cool moment. And then I think they ended up putting another one in the window.
They put one right out when we bought it. We were leaving. We were like, "What the fuck?" Because I could have bought that one too, because we could have flipped that. But shh, we don't do that, people. No one does that. That's for dealers. That's yeah. We don't do that. That was a lie. But yeah, this was like it was $100, which is why I was debating it, because it was like a $50 figure when they reissued it. But I had literally never seen one for sale before, so that's why I ended up buying it.
All right, Kyle, where are you at?
Oh, you know, at capacity is where I'm at pretty much. I'm supposed to be also following suit with that one in, one out policy, but man, I gotta tell you, there's been just a big influx recently. I do have a bunch of stuff I want to sell, so if anybody out there is looking for that, if you really want to beef up your collection with something awesome, I'm going to be selling the remote-controlled Tokyo Marui 1989 Godzilla figure, which is huge and massive, and it's going to be a total bitch to ship. So just a heads up, if anybody already wants that and they know they're looking for it, I probably would let it go for a good deal, and you would just need to message me. Anyway, I'm going to stop shilling, and basically I will say that my collection is, I think, in pretty good shape right now, with the exception of the things I want to sell. I know there's a bunch of stuff coming in. I'm going to get another one of those cool glass cases like these guys here. And then I think I can't fit any more shelving units in this room, so I'm done after that. And that's the end of that story.
Roger. John, where'd John go? Is he still there? Well, he's still there. I just want to touch base. You know, he reminded me of other things that I'm doing. Because I did dabble into some Hot Toys stuff, Star Wars related figures. So, oh boy, you could really I could really get into trouble with that. So I'm really being smart about that too. Just getting the bad guys. So they announced a new Emperor Palpatine and the Royal Guard, which is coming from Hot Toys. So I will be getting Palpatine and 2 Royal Guards. Much excite. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about, we're going to go into sentimental figures, you know, things that we hold dear to us. And who wants to go first? Jessica's going first.
I'm going
you
first.
Just go.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
right.
You just
Wait. Why don't we do the panda first? Everybody wants the panda.
Yeah,
okay. All right. Yeah, because all right.
Yeah.
So we've been getting some questions about the panda. Kyle's gonna pull his up.
Kyle should actually lead this because he probably has the most information when it comes to it. Only reason I own this at all is because I saw Kyle with it, and I had to say, "Oh my God, what is that thing? I need that in my life," and hence why he came into my life.
Where did you see Kyle with it?
It was on Fresh Vinyl live in Japan.
No shit.
And he had just bought it like a day before that too, which was pretty cool. He had just picked it up. Yeah.
Oh my God! It literally is the most disturbing yet amazing thing ever.
It just speaks volumes. It just screams, "Hey, I'm here. Come by me." It's just. I can't say enough like positive things about this thing. If you can find one, which I don't even remember where I actually even bought it at this point. All I know it was like a blank sort of things I need to find. So I found it. Yes, great. And that was pretty much it. Like it
looks like something from Hellraiser.
Man.
It does. It looks
It's like a Xenobite panda bear. Look at this freak.
Like, oh my god! Like what? It's just.
I remember when
I know history,
Go ahead.
like somewhat, like a small bit of history about it. Is that I guess all of the areas wanted to create like a mascot. I guess is
Their own kaiju.
Yeah. So their own kaiju. So they all submitted them in like a
kaiju.
What was it?
It's a series called Gotoichi Kaiju, and the deal is that Hiroshi Sagai, who was he worked on some of the Godzilla movies in the Heisei era, he and this guy named Uchino, who actually played the little kid in the Ultraman episode with Gamora. Those guys basically created this sort of like concept that each prefecture in Japan should have their own kaiju designed basically after something that their prefecture is famous for. And so Gotoichi Kaiju it's sort of like a movement in Japan that these two guys are trying to get all of the prefectures to create their own monsters. And Sagai is actually working on sculptures of them. They've got other sculptors working on stuff. And so this was the very first figure that they released from this Gotoichi Kaiju series. And the second one they released, Brandon, you have that one. That's the Osaka Granny, which looks much more like a marmot figure.
Oh, totally. I've dubbed it at this point like Mama Gone because I keep forgetting the name. Like I just don't know what to call it. The other name is not very positive. Is Cabinet. Oh, I'm not going to finish it. It's too.
Which one?
It? This one.
What we called it?
Yeah, what were we calling it?
Afro titties? I don't know.
Okay.
I forget already.
So this was actually displayed at work and affectionately called Cabinet Whore because that's where it resided and it just overlooked the rest of my workplace. I know that they had made some amazing ones. There's one that's almost like a bird inside of a house. It was an old shrine. I thumbed through some of the images, the artwork, and I would love to see all of them. There's like a bone one as well. Of like another kind of birdish sort of character. I want to see them all. I just want them made. I'll buy them. Anything ridiculous, I'm in for.
So these guys, the two you have, Brandon, and the one I've got here, these guys are from Future, which is a company in Japan. They have since I think they've released at least 2, if not 3 more figures in a smaller scale, but not through Future, through some other company. I keep seeing them pop up on Mandarake every once in a while, but they always sell out like pretty fast. So
I'm looking forward then.
They've got the wasabi root monster, and I think the one that's like it looks like it's made of straw and crawling around on all 4 feet. Anyway, really cool series, really cool concept. I will say that if you search for Gotoichi Kaiju on the Kaiju Cast website, you could listen to the interview I did with those guys from G-Fest a couple of years ago.
Nice plug.
Self-promotion.
Boom. Yeah, exactly. I will add about the panda. Kyle, I remember when I first saw it when we were in Japan after you had bought them. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Amazing piece. And then when I went over your house the first time, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, it's beautiful. It is so disturbing. It is amazing. So very cool. Do you want to grab your GMK?
Something else can go for right now.
Okay.
I'll come back.
Okay.
I just gave you the look. I'm sorry. You're next.
So everybody knows my love for Anguillus, and when we were over in Japan, I had mentioned we went to M1's factory or house or whatever you want to call it, and Yuji and Michi are really good friends of mine. So Michi messaged me probably right before Monsterpalooza, and she's like, I want you to check out this paint and see if it's okay for this figure. I said, okay. So she sends me this picture, and I'm like, wow, that thing is gorgeous. So she replied to me. She's like, this is your next souvenir. Yuji painted it special for you. And the figure...
Yes.
It's a Anguillus. It's got gorgeous colors on it, and it means a lot because knowing a friend made that especially for me, it just makes it even better. I do have some other special figures at home, but nothing compares to this, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, my giant Hiroshima Anguillus, that thing is like 3 feet long. That is like my.
I could ride it.
True. That thing's my pride and joy. When I got it, I carried it around Monsterpalooza, petting it like it was my baby. I'm sure most of you saw pictures or were even there to witness it. So.
Yep.
Awesome.
Wow.
No, I think yours is really cool because it's a one of a kind.
True.
And you're talking like handmade right from M1. Their name, but you can't get any freaking fresher than that.
Yeah.
So that who said it? Albert Escobedo. He said what an honor. Yeah, literally. That's awesome.
It's an incredible honor.
And it's a gift.
It is. It is.
So those gifts from Japan are just really worth everything to me.
I totally agree. And luckily enough, we will all be graced by their presence this year at G-Fest because instead of Bluefin coming back, M1 is coming to G-Fest for the first time. They're going to have a booth. It's going to be right across from Clawmark, where David and John usually work or help out. So definitely, I highly suggest everybody go stop by, say hi, meet them. They're wonderful people, and I can't speak highly enough about them.
I wonder if anybody else is going to be maybe Marusan, maybe they might be there. Maybe Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich might be there too. Talking about Godzilla 98. So a lot of opportunities, for other people to, come to G-Fest.
I can't wait till Trendmaster's tables at the G-Fest.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I actually kind of want to get a Trendmaster's Godzilla again, just for nostalgia purposes.
I still have every single one of mine. I grew up with those bad boys.
Yeah,
I do too. I have all the little play sets. I have the very rare Space Godzilla play set.
I've seen a lot of yours. I don't have them displayed, but I can't bring myself to sell them.
I can't.
Well, if you want to donate them, my son will gladly take them. I'm just saying, he's kind of into that stuff.
Don't tempt me, because I've sent some cool stuff to friends of kids before. The more Godzilla fans we can make, the better. So good on you, man. I'm glad he's a fan. That's awesome.
So on like a side note, it's very difficult trying to raise a child who's 5 years old and try to tell him that I just can't get that for you, buddy. Because it's ridiculously priced, or that's really hard to find. Dad loves you. Dad might not love you that much monetarily, or something that's going to be destroyed possibly in a week.
If your kid is super cute, you might be able to get him to make a little money for you by a little child acting kind of situation. Really build up your Kaiju bank account.
I would love to, but he doesn't follow direction very well. He is amazing. He is adorable. You've seen them. Both my children, amazing, but direction's not their thing, which is not their father's either. So,
Oh, well. I guess you're screwed.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks, son. We would have done much better if you just listened.
All right, tell us about your GMK here.
All right. Might tear up a little. I think when I started more or less coming into the fandom, aside from watching and then seeing X Plus, again, I didn't know about a lot of this stuff. And when I was just popping online, I happened to see it was a GMK, like a 2001 and an X Plus, and I really wanted it. But by the time I sort of came around, it seemed the prices were just out of my league at that point. I was in school again, working, wasn't really happening. So I really wanted one very badly. And then I was able to start being able to afford it, but I didn't have enough. So I was able to find one, but this is a little different. This is, from my understanding, this is originally the model, the vinyl model kit of the Rio Yama Gigantic Series. Supposedly, it's 1 in 500 that the model came out, and I couldn't pass on it. It was about $400. I grabbed it because I couldn't find anything else, and then when I got it, it was great. I sent it out to a guy named Bill Monster Jones, and he was able to paint it up. So this is a one of a kind. I'd seen somebody else had done one. I'm like, I kind of like this. You know, can you do it not like this, but a little bit different? Do your own thing, but like a little bit with the flair, you know? And when he sent it back, I was just awestruck. For me personally, it's not the suit itself, or I'm like a GMK is my end all be all. I feel that this sculpt embodies Godzilla for me. It's more animalistic. It's this creature of dominance, like I am coming for you. It's just powerful. Like it's what moved me as.
Yeah, that's what G wanted with that line. He was like, "This is what kaiju should be: big, powerful, scary." Yeah.
Yeah,
super cool.
It's really hard to do that in a suit actor. Like, no offense to any of the suit actors. I mean, it's great, but it's not the same. Like, it has a little bit of a hunch. It has an animal. Like, I just love the ferocity of it. So I had to have it. So I did, and then I got it. And what made it even more special is I think it was in 2015.
Yeah,
it was 2015. Still had the badge itself. Was for Anime Boston. So I heard that Haru Nakajima was going to come, and I'm like, I just got this. I got this in January. I'm like, and it's April. Like, when will I ever be able to see this gentleman again? So it was a no-brainer. So I ended up going in the most unusual fashions of carrying a tote around with like pillows in it. This thing is in it. And, you know, you're watching out for like people who are like younger than you with no spatial awareness whatsoever. So I'm terrified the entire time. It was more anxiety than I want. And I'm like, please don't bump into me. And like people were just flaying around. And I get up to where they were. The line wasn't so bad, it seemed. But I had just been walking by, and I didn't notice at first. Kira Takanada was there, and I'm walking with this giant tote, and he sees it peeking over, and he goes, "Oh, Godzilla!" And I'm just like, "Yes." And it didn't. I think I was just so focused on Haru. It took me a minute. I'm like, "Wait a minute, I do know. Like, I know who this is." And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh!" And he's just lit up like a tree, and he comes, "I sign."
Yeah,
I sign, and I'm like, sure, you know, and I grab my Sharpie and my paint pen. He signs the bottom of the foot, and I'm like, this is cool. And then I look at the pictures, and I'm like, I put 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, oh my god, like, yes, this is awesome. And then I realized I cut the line entirely. Like, everybody, he's just by, and the whole line is staring, and I'm like, why are they glaring and mad at me afterwards? Like, oh, it's like, oh, I haven't even paid for I will pay for this, absolutely. So that was amazing. So that's great to begin with. And he took an awesome picture. I'm not sure if it's going to show with me.
Oh yeah.
So that was great. He was such a character the entire time. Like, I'm trying to take a picture with him. He's leaning over, going, "How much?" So how much? And I told him the price tag in US and then yen. He's like, "I buy." I'm like, no. Like, I'm sorry, but like you get one. Like, I guess. So he was great. He was great, and then finally got back in line. Ended up walking up and getting Haru, and I believe you were saying it's usually his daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was there, and she helped him, and he was just, again, lit up when he saw it. He signs it, and I sat down, I, of course, got a picture with him, which was great. Amazing gentleman. And I don't know. Like, it's just, I can't say enough how much it meant to me. I can't even remember what the foot is on, but they have both signed.
I don't think I've ever heard you tell me this story in depth. It's magical. I think we could all relate to your story.
So I might not have been able to go to Japan, but Japan came to me, and I could not pass on it. It was phenomenally, like, it's the greatest thing. Like, I walked away, and it brings you back to that, like, childhood state. It was just like, essentially, I just met, like, my childhood heroes, even my adult heroes still to this day. Like, I just, like, it's always like that safe thing, that thing that you most want to, and you gravitated towards it. And to make things even so much better is that as you're walking off, Haruo Nakajima makes fun of you. Because you're carrying this lumbering, like, thing, and he just goes, and his seat like this, making fun of me. And I look back, and I'm like, yep. So, yeah, that's my story. That's my piece. And it is the second thing I'll grab in a fire, aside from my children. Like, of course, they've got now. But the second thing I'll grab, of course, is going to be pictures of my kids. But this is my baby. So,
beautiful.
That's it.
All right. Very, very nice. Very nice. John, what do you got?
Wow.
Sentimental pieces.
Sentimental pieces. I'm real big on getting figures signed, so I have a whole lot of things signed. We've talked about that a lot. The last time I saw it, Nakajima-san, he signed this 1962 Marmot Monster Heaven for me. The silver on the mat looks really nice. Takarada-san signed this, and he also signed the Hazawa Gumi Dancing Goji last year in Chicago. That was an amazing G-Fest. That was really great. In Kentucky, I got Shinji Nishikawa-san MASH to sign the bottom of the Rose Form Marmot Monster Heaven, which has been, I think it's one of my favorite signed figures ever. The gold looks amazing. This is the first design he contributed to Godzilla movies, so I think it's really cool to have it signed by him. David sent this to me last week. I bought it from him, not signed, just love it. So it's sentimental. I have lots of things painted by David from David. David and I and James is watching. We kind of buy, sell, and trade to each other on a weekly basis. So I have a lot of David represented in my room here. I think most of us have Nakajima-san signed the M1 out of this group right here. These things are amazing. If you ever see one, guys watching, buy one. Obviously, they're expensive now, but they're worth it because these things are getting even more rare by the minute. And God, I've got so many signed things. I'm not going to show all these to you. I have one signed by each generation of suit actor. All my GMKs over there. I just, like I said earlier, though, I'm really to the point to where I'm just keeping things that I can't part with, like all my things that are signed, things I got in Japan. I've got the 25 centimeter crawling Baragon and Varan that we picked up while we were in Japan. Lots of other things. I mean, looking around, it's either my favorite things or things that I couldn't part with at this point, because I used to have, like Rich, I used to have all the Bandai's, man, and I had SH Monster Arts, and I had the entire Vinyl Paradise line of Toho stuff at one point. I've sold 75% of my collection and just really concentrated it down to the things that I love. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, this one, Takarada-san, is one of my favorites too. And yeah, that's for me.
Nice. Yeah, you have a lot of stuff autographed. I
do.
Did you pull up your? Maybe I missed it. The Mothra that you had autographed by.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm having.
That's Kawatani-san. He's the
Gamera Heisei.
Yeah.
Oh, shame
He's
on
the
me.
Composer, GMK composer, and the Heisei. He did a lot of collaboration with Kaneko-san. Yeah, we did this. This was 2014 or 2015.
That was 15, I think.
15.
That was the second year, yeah. That was
Symphonic Fury.
Yep.
Yeah, and this was he was there for Symphonic Fury, and those of us that contributed to it got to go see him and hang out. That was amazing. David was taking photos, and he was there, and I got him to sign Mothra, and he was thrilled. He had such a blast. That was so cool to see him have so much fun on his trip, and to get to spend so much time with him. That's one of those things that, like, if you're watching this, I know we say this every time, but please come to G-Fest or go to any of these conventions where any of these guys are, because it's so amazing to actually hang out with them just as people and watch them have a great time and get to experience that all together. It's kind of priceless.
What movie was it?
Why I'm having a brain
technical
fart. We're
failure.
having a brain fart here. The composer for GMK and the Heisei Gamera films.
Kyle Otani.
Otani-san.
Otani-san. I just said it 3 times. Shame on you. You're not listening to me, are you?
No, I wasn't because we were trying to figure it out amongst ourselves, and I'm sorry.
I'm not listening to you at all.
I was having a brain fart. Sorry.
No, it's
But
okay.
anyways, I remember when you got that autograph because I got to hold it in my hands too, and I was like, wow, it's a beautiful figure, and you had it autographed. So
Yeah, dude.
nice
that's the way to
piece.
do it.
It was at the rehearsal for the concert where Otani-san saw his music being performed in America for the first time. So he was just on cloud 9. And watching him experience that, it's just like you say, our childhood heroes, when you get to see them and hang out with them, it's pretty special, and I'm not really, starstruck, but it's not so much as being starstruck. It's being like the nostalgia comes flooding through, and it means a lot that, we all loved this stuff when we were kids. And we all know that other people loved it too. So it's just an amazing thing.
Yep.
It really is.
David, all right, so you could roll right into, whatever your sentimental pieces are.
Cool, I'll go quick. Number 1 has to be this guy. This is a Pilot Ace, solid gold, Daisenso Goji from Monster Zero 65. And I was lucky enough to be invited to go with Kyle to Japan for his Hail to the King documentary. And right before we were going to interview the Toho actors, we made a quick stop into Mandarake, and this guy was in the window. $100, grabbed it, picked it up, came along to the interview with us, and we thought it'd be kind of cool to have him sit on the table while the actors are talking about their experiences in the movies. And so we had Akira Kubo, Akira Takarada, and we had who was there? Who else was there, Kyle? I can't even remember.
Yoshio Tsuchiya was there.
Who is? Yep.
Oh, and I was going to say, and Yukiko Kobayashi. But go ahead and tell them who Tsuchiya is.
So Tsuchiya is actually the controller of Planet X. Okay, and we all know that Akira Takarada played Fuji in the movie, and Akira Kubo played the inventor Tetsuo, or what was his name in English?
Tetsui? Yeah. Tetsui.
So this guy, not only did I pick it up with my own hands in Japan, he was on the table during the interview, and actually 3 of the actors who were in this movie held him, and I got photos of it. I think Rich has one photo of Akira Takarada, if you could put it up. I don't know if you still have it or not, but
hold on a minute, let me sneak by.
So yeah, it's pretty special, and it's a rare figure. Not a lot of people have it. I've never seen anybody else have it too. I just thought it was a cool thing, and as the other guy said, anything that's been signed. I have a few things signed by Nakajima, which again, that's super special. And yeah, that's number 1. Number 2, we went to Japan for my 50th birthday last year, and I picked up my very first vintage piece. This is a original Bullmark blue Godzilla with the red eyes, and I saw him in a showcase, and it was exactly what I was looking for. I got it for a reasonable price, picked him up, hung out in Japan with me, and it was just really awesome.
If we could focus on the screen for a moment here. Darn it, this is not going as planned. Sorry. There we go.
So yeah, you can see the figure with Takarada-san holding it. So it's definitely special. I didn't even think to have anybody sign it. I was just so caught up in the moment, that surreal moment that you don't even think straight when you're in those situations. So yeah, it's pretty damn special to me. And just like the rest of the guys said, things that are signed, things that are given to you by gifts, that kind of stuff are the things that are really sentimental and special to me. I will never sell my Bandais because that's what got me into the collecting back in the late 80s, early 90s. So I just cannot bring myself to sell the old classic standard Bandais. So that's pretty much it for me. Yeah, I think we all kind of echoed the same sentiments of things that we find special. So I guess, Kyle, do you want to go on and talk about your special stuff?
Yeah, I thought you were going to talk about one more thing that you might have to
Oh, sorry. Yes, there is one more thing.
I'm looking out for you, dude.
Okay, yeah. This is a tin wind-up Billiken Godzilla that was given to me by, it was my partner back then, Keith, about 25 years ago. Now he's my husband, almost 26 years. And this is the first Godzilla gift that he ever got me. And he went out to the village and found it, and he brought it home, and it was a gift from me, and it's super special. And it's so special that it actually lives upstairs. It doesn't even live in the collection room. So this is super sappy, super sentimental, but it's a great piece, and the box is even great too. So thank you for reminding me about that one, Kyle.
Also super cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Here. Yeah, there it is there. Okay. Next.
All right, Kyle, you're up.
Okay, so I have a lot of very special pieces. You know, like David, I've been collecting for a very long time, and overall, I think if I had to just kind of narrow it down, there's two pieces, really, maybe three, that I would say kind of I would like to just showcase as something that's like sentimental to me right this very minute for some reason. I don't know, but the first thing, this is an original vintage Mattel Shogun Warriors Rodan figure, and I had one of these when I was a kid. This is not the one I owned from childhood, but one of the listeners, Jess, you know him, Mike Weber, he heard me talk about this so much on the podcast that he eventually, one night after drinking a bunch of beers, bought one for me online. So.
Oh my God, that noise. You can never forget that noise.
That is Rodan saying Mike Weber is freaking awesome. So yeah, like, and so this is like seriously nostalgia candy for me. And this is like takes me right back to being a kid. And I remember when I saw it, I've said it a million times on the podcast. I remember very clearly seeing this in the toy store when I was a kid and just being like awestruck by it. So glad to have it in my collection right now. Very special to me. Secondly, gotta be very careful how I put him down. A lot of people know that one of my favorite monsters is Gigan, and I searched for a really, really long time for this black, gold, and silver spray gallery edition of the Monster Heaven Gigan. He's like definitely was one of my grail figures, and I finally got a hold of him, I think last year, and for a very reasonable price, which is almost always something that makes a figure more special to me, is when I can get it for something like close to what it came out for. But I don't need to spend too much time on this gorgeous hunk of vinyl, because somebody brought up earlier, it might have been David or John or Rich, because we all went to Kaiju Sakaba in Osaka. And when we were there, we got these Kanegon figures. And while the Kanegon figure is super mega special to me because it reminds me of A, being there for David's birthday, B, being at Osaka's Ganso Kaiju Sakaba, which is now closed, and the trip and having dinner with G, just like such an amazing night. I will say that they did do a release of some other figures later on, and they put out this freaking gorgeous Bullmark reissue, Gamora, and the paint on this is just like so juicy that I feel like I could just take a candy bite out of it. It's like awesome. So this is special to me because it took me a while to actually track one down, and yeah, like apparently they were sold out immediately when they put them up for sale, that limited sale kind of thing. So those are my three guys.
Perfect.
Nice. Definitely agree with the Kaiju Sakaba figures. I don't have mine with me right now. It's downstairs packed up. Definitely a sentimental piece along the lines Kyle said. You know, we're celebrating, David, your birthday. We were in Japan, and we were all like, we're all getting this figure. So that was a must buy for all of us right there in the store. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
When I got asked, we're like, oh, we're gonna bring up some sentimental pieces. I was like, crap. I was like, I got so much stuff. Like, I wasn't really sure what really hit home. But when we were in Japan, I picked up these 3 Popey figures at Mandarake. They are King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, and the Godzilla. I kind of feel bad about the King Ghidorah because David was looking at it, I think, moments before I found it, and I'm buying it. You know, so I kind of feel like I stole this one from you.
Because
And I didn't know it. Huh?
It was actually Keith that liked it.
Keith, all right, Keith. That all right. True. But I still felt like I stole it, but I didn't know it until after I had already bought it because you were like, "You bought it?" I'm like, "Yeah." Oh shit! What did I do wrong? You know. But these were really a sweet buy for me because I was really being careful on what I was going to spend in Japan. I didn't really want to go out like dropping, you know, X amount of dollars left and right. I don't even think I bought anything when we were in Tokyo. So my first purchases were these in Osaka. So I already have Rodan, Baragon, and Gigan of this line. So these were the three that I needed. And to find them all together in the same store in Japan was just, you know, meant to be. So I was so happy to find these three, and they were great prices, great condition. And I love them. You know, a lot. You know, there's been some discussion on the Facebook group, you know, about vintage pieces and whatnot, and you know, they're not really, you know, not many people focus on these. I think I'm going to do a video on the Popey figures, not, you know, very soon. But I love these figures. They come from a time before I existed. You know, so to be holding pieces of vinyl here from the late 70s, 77, 78. I still look at them and think like, wow, I cannot believe these existed before I was born on this earth. And then to think about like where they came from, who held these figures, who, you know, whose possession were they in, where they've been around the world or around Japan for that matter. So I love them. And, you know, along with the Popey figures, I did buy the larger scale Godzilla last year at G-Fest from Showcase Daikaiju with Sean Linkenback. And again, I was very careful about my purchases because when it comes to vintage pieces, I want to make sure I'm buying the, you know, the real ones. I mean, you know, the first release, because there's a lot of reproduction figures out there, and I'm still very a noob when it comes to vintage pieces. I don't want to buy a reissue or a recast or whatever, or recast as a bootleg, but I don't think there's any bootlegs of this. But then again, I don't know. Maybe there is. So working with Mike Johnson last year at the table, you know, Sean was right next to us, and he had three of these standing on the top shelf, and I just kept looking over. It was like Friday. I'm like, ooh, look. Saturday, ooh, look. Sunday, I'm buying it. You know, I was like, it's calling to me. I must have it. You know, and I really love the Popey figures because, you know, of their design, where they come from. The paint jobs are, you know, they're kind of out there, especially on this one. And the paint job was in, it's pretty good. It's for the condition that it was in. It is in.
Yeah.
It was the best of the three that he had. So I'm like, I'm going to buy it. There was another guy. I think it was Jeff Mulick. I think you were there at the. If you're watching, I believe you were thinking about going to buy one at the same time I was thinking about going to buy it. So I was like, oh shit. I crawled out from underneath the table, went over to Sean's. I'm like, give me that one I wanted. So I'm done debating. I'm buying this one before it's gone, and because I would have kicked myself in the ass. So that's two of my sentimentals, and then this one's it's become very much a popular one. The M1 Nakajima, and I have him autographed by Nakajima-san, which I
That's
have
from Chiller, right, Rich?
What's that?
That's the one from Chiller where all three Godzillas were there, right?
No, it wasn't. Okay, so I'll tell the story. It wasn't until Chiller when you, Paul, and I believe Vince had yours signed at that Chiller. That was 2013. You know,
Correct.
and I really think it was at that point from the pictures that you took that really put this figure on the map to get autographed by Nakajima-san. It's just my opinion, hands down. I think that's when this became the must-have Nakajima autograph figure. Because that's how it was to me. I was like, I need this figure, and I need Nakajima to get one. And this one, too. Brandon likes this one. But I ended up picking mine up let's see, probably the end of 2014, maybe early 2015. But I had Nakajima autograph this at Anime Boston when he was up here with Takarada. So to have the figure of Nakajima signed by the man himself, I mean, you really can't put an explanation to it until it's just his handwriting is on his back. It's just priceless, you know. And you
great placement.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's awesome.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
you know. And you mentioned it earlier. You know, he's our hero.
Yeah.
You know, and he is our hero. He's my hero. A lot of people, non-Godzilla fans, could sit there and say, "Oh, he's just a guy in a suit." Well, so is Batman, so is Superman, so is Spider-Man. They're all just guys in suits. Those are their heroes. This is, you know, our hero.
Put anybody in a suit, you can't make a character.
Very
He made
true.
a character for all of us. And obviously, it's spurred into a giant fandom.
Yeah, he was the first.
Yeah.
I mean, without him, there wouldn't be Super Sentai. There wouldn't be any of the kaiju films.
Yeah. And you know, I was in that line and just waiting to get something signed. Yes, this is the thing that I have. And was he the suit actor? No, he wasn't. But it was not. It's a state of mind for me personally. Like, it was just like, that's what it is. It's a destructive force. I really like this. You know, I want it signed. And you just want to meet him. And I wouldn't trade that story for anything, because he made it memorable. Takara made it memorable. And I didn't ask for that. I asked for a signature at the end of the day, but they gave me something more. And that you cannot put a price tag. That's why this will never get sold. Well, I'm sure while that will get sold, with any of your guys' stuff, you won't sell it.
No, never. And it'll be stuff that I'll will to somebody, because and what Jessica and you guys were all saying, that he wasn't just a man in a suit. He actually was indispensable to Toho. He was part of that dream team. Tsuburaya, Ifukube, and Honda. I mean, Tsuburaya went as far as to say, "I don't want to make this movie if you won't do it." I mean, he was that indispensable. And if he wasn't in the suit, he was choreographing monster fights for other movies when he got a little older. So the guy is definitely, and it's no easy thing to be in that heavy suit where you're claustrophobic, you sweat like a pig. The first suit, the original Godzilla, was like over 100 pounds, or well over 100 pounds. And you could really suffocate in there. And, you know, we've all heard about the mishaps. He was dropped in Rodan over the bridge, and a bomb exploded when he was in the Varan suit at the airport scene. You know, he just got a couple of burns and bruises, but he just brushed it off and went right back to it. So for anybody to say he's just a dude in a suit, he's an iconic, you know, character actor who just did work, and he transcended the rubber, which is almost impossible to do. And his favorite role, which I agree, is Gaira, where you could actually see his eyes. So he really made Gaira an evil-ass character. I mean, that thing, if I'm afraid of any Toho monster, Gaira is the scariest Toho monster, because he will chase you down and he will eat you and spit your clothes out. Right?
Well,
we just stand in the window, grab your ass out. I mean, you know, it's just... So his favorite role was Gaira. And because you could see his eyes were visible in that. So
not only was he in the suits,
I don't mean to digress, but...
Yeah, but not only was he in the suits, he also made cameos in a bunch of the movies.
Destroy All Monsters.
Destroy All Monsters, Rodan, he was one of the army guys. I mean, the list goes on.
He was also in the H-Man. He was one of the guys on the ship.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. It all adds to the conversation. But moving on, I think we're going to talk about last two topics will be the most recent conventions. Kyle, you want to talk about Monsterpalooza and how that was?
Yeah, so I went to Monsterpalooza at the beginning of the month. I think it was the weekend of the 7th and 8th, essentially, in Los Angeles, California. It was really cool. They had two Japanese guests who came over. One was Keita Amamiya. If you're familiar with his work, he did stuff like the Zerum duology and Moon Over Tau and Mikazuki. And if you love tokusatsu stuff, you might be familiar with Garo, which is a really popular show in Japan right now. It's been around since 2005. He did that. It was really great to meet him because I'm a huge fan of his. They also brought over Mizuho Yoshida, who was the actor from GMK. He played Godzilla in GMK. He also worked with Amamiya on some of his other films. So it was really cool to have the two of them there at the same convention. Plus, Monsterpalooza was an amazing show. as Jessica mentioned, M1, Yuji and Michi came over and they sold some stuff. They actually had a table inside the convention on the vendor floor. It was really awesome to like just kind of stroll up to their table and be like, I will take home this Godzilla on a tricycle, please. Like, it was so rad. I love the fact that that M1 was there, and it's very cool to have met them at a previous convention and been to their house, and yeah, that was definitely a highlight of the show for me. But it was a blast, and if you are in the Los Angeles area in September, they do Son of Monsterpalooza. And if you're there and you want to go to Monsterpalooza next spring, it should be probably around April, right around that same time at the Pasadena Convention Center, and it was a blast.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, Yoshida.
I'm sorry I missed it this year.
You were missed, man.
Sorry I missed it. It was a real lot of fun the year before because that was the year Nakajima was there, and that was pretty awesome. And Linda Miller. Yeah.
For sure.
David, have you met Mizuho Yoshida yet?
I have not. He's the only one that I've not met.
He is so much fun. So much fun.
He's hilarious.
Yes.
He looks like he was just really, mugging it up with you guys, and he's just, how's his English? Is his English okay or not so good? Yeah.
It's about as much as the other Japanese guests.
Yeah.
They basically can just really minorly communicate with you. I mean, the international language of love for monsters does wonders, I think.
Well, I was surprised at how good Takarada's English is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Takarada, you can tell he's practiced.
It's absolutely incredible to converse with him. And anyway, let's all wish him a belated birthday. His birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Takarada-san.
It was either yesterday.
Dobi Omedeto.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
You didn't know that.
Chiller.
We got to see Megumi Odaka, who played Miki Sugusa in the Heisei series, and it was her first appearance in
17 years,
something like that. And we also had Shinji Nishikawa, the artist who designed all of the kaiju for the Millennium and the Heisei series. A fantastic artist. He if you haven't seen his work, you should definitely look him up, check it out. It's absolutely incredible. Megumi, she had so much fun at Chiller. It was a really good experience. Me and Christine got to work with her, her and Nishikawa-san, and it was a fun weekend. A bunch of us got together. We had dinner with them. We went to Hibachi. Her husband was actually in Godzilla Final Wars. And she also did mention that her house gets destroyed in Shin Godzilla. And she wanted to make a cameo, but she was afraid that people would find out where she lived and go to her house. So that didn't happen. But yeah, she had an amazing time.
Yeah, I think it was great to see her back. I was shocked when she was announced for Chiller. I'm like, wow. Not to go into details, for those of us that have heard the story of her last, when she was last here in the United States, didn't go so well at G-Fest with one guest or one Godzilla fan, made it very uncomfortable for her. But it was great to see her back. Like you said, she had a great time. That was very evident, from talking to you with Christine and seeing some pictures, from being in Manhattan, shopping, going out to dinners, and then the convention itself. It was very, very nice to see that she had a great time. It was awesome that she brought her husband, who at first he was standing behind her at the table with his arms crossed, like, he was going to beat somebody up if they, were out of line. So when she was signing my Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla poster, I made sure to introduce myself and shake his hand. I felt like that was the right thing to do. So, and then at dinner, wait, before we get to dinner. So I kind of got starstruck when I met her. I was like, I just didn't know what to do. But I was like, oh, so I went and did this. Like I sensed Godzilla. And yeah, John, it gets better. It gets better.
I know this ever is not funny.
She looked at me like something was wrong. And she was confused.
No.
And I felt so stupid. I felt so dumb. Because I'm like, oh God. Like, she looked at me like, frankly, like, what's wrong? It was all over her face. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't recognize what I'm doing. Loser.
Like, oh, you didn't hear that? You didn't hear what I was doing there?
Yeah, I was like, I went like, Gojira. And she's like,
you should have done it harder at that point.
Harder. I was like, yeah, right. And then I would have been that
So
guy.
then you had to sell something at that point because you're embarrassed.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So I did that. I felt silly. I got my poster autographed. Then she gave me an autographed rose, courtesy of Christine, which was awesome. But she was a sweetheart. She had a great time. The dinner was amazing. We sat on the right side with her husband. We had he talked a lot, which was awesome.
He speaks really good English.
Very good. Yes, I think it was Brett Hominick who was working with them, teaching them English in Japan.
I'm not sure.
Like about a month ago. I saw some pictures on Facebook where they were on their Facebook pages. But great time at dinner. Joy to be with. Her husband's a class act, very, very stand-up guy. We found out that they got married in 2011, like Jess and I, so that was cool. Like, yeah. So Chiller was awesome. We got you want to pass me the board? We got these boards again with their autographs on them, and then Godzilla versus Biollante. The poster logo there for the movie, so that was really neat. And their family seals on there as well. So that came out great. Awesome. Very generous of them.
I like how hers is like gray or black. That's cool. Usually they're just all red.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Family seal.
Yeah, that's right. The family seal is great. So, hey, come on. I did notice that, but everybody else's is red. So this is the first one that it's gray. So I'm not sure if there's any significance to that or not. Maybe it's somebody that maybe
Wiser.
Yeah. Maybe there's some reason behind that.
For those of you wondering, we did ask her, obviously, what her favorite movie was. And she said Godzilla versus oh my God, I'm drawing.
Monster.
Yeah, that monster. Yeah. So Godzilla versus Ghidorah, or King Ghidorah, 91, was her favorite movie. But her favorite movie to act in is actually Godzilla versus Biollante.
Nice.
Her first movie too.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was. I actually asked her husband. It was like, or maybe he told me he only saw Godzilla versus Biollante and King Ghidorah. He did not see her other films. So I told him, like, you need to fix that. These are twice movies. And then what else about her husband? He told us that he forgot to wear his wedding band. So he forgot it. I forget why he said he took it off or something back at home in Japan. But he said, I'm in the doghouse. Because the Gumi was upset that he forgot to wear his wedding band.
What happens at Chiller Theater stays at Chiller Theater.
Yeah, right?
We were, so he does like to joke around. And I don't know what he said to her or she said to him. But at one point during dinner, she turns to him and is like, it was hysterical.
Who was he in Godzilla Final Wars?
He was, so from what I gathered from him saying, it was when Takarada landed, he was one of the aliens that I think were like trying to get Takarada. I sent him a message to try to get me a picture of where he was in the film or whatever, so I could share it with everybody.
Right.
But he was one of the aliens.
Well, Rich, I love your story about you approaching her, doing the thing. I would have loved if she would have given you an aspirin. Then you would have had a collection aspirin to keep.
Yeah, right.
Have her sign the aspirin.
I sensed Godzilla, and I got a freaking aspirin from Mickey Segusa.
That would
You guys are getting it
great.
framed.
It's a great story already, but
Yeah,
I love that.
I still napkin right next to it.
like I did it again at the dinner, and she picked up on it, so I didn't feel as half as stupid as I did when I first met her. But literally, it was like she just got back to the table from taking a break, taking lunch, and she's behind the table. I rolled out my poster, and I was already feeling like starstruck, like this, because like these are our heroes. These are people that we've enjoyed so much with, in this passion that we have with the hobby. So I was like nervous again, and it's the first thing I did, and stupid.
Dude, that should totally become her like pose. When she takes pictures with people, she should totally like do like a.
That's the thing. It's like I asked Christine, I was like, has anybody done this yet? And I watched the movies just to make sure I was doing it right. And she would take, her ring finger, middle finger, and put them at her temple, and sense, when she would sense Godzilla. So I asked Christine, anybody do it yet? She's like, no. I was like, yes. And of course, the first person that does it,
Failure.
it was a complete. Yeah, I just felt like a complete failure.
Womp womp.
Totally.
Yeah, she's gonna remember you out of everybody else, though.
If she doesn't, that's okay, because but whatever. But
American man.
He's like he has
He
a
kept
headache.
doing it all night. Just
migraines.
this wouldn't go away.
Yeah. Anyway, that Chiller was great. So
Chiller was amazing.
I think the what's coming? There's a convention in Michigan in October. I know Nakajima is up for.
So I can't say this month because this month is over. But in May, we have Arizona. It's supposed to be Haru Nakajima, Bin Furuya, and I think Tom Kitagawa got added to that, but don't quote me because I don't know if it's that show or not. July, I think it's the beginning of July in Indianapolis, we have Haru Nakajima, Tom Kitagawa, and I don't know if Furuya-san is going to be at that one also. But as we all know, Nakajima-san has been sick lately, so everybody keep him in your prayers, that he gets better soon and everything's going to be okay.
And
Then we have G-Fest.
G-Fest, yep.
What's up?
What's G-Fest?
What's that? You said?
There's the door. There's the door. Keep your figures here, too.
Oh, come back.
G-Fest, that's right. G-Fest is coming up, so we're what? 3 months away? A little bit less than that now?
Less than three.
Yeah, less than 3. So I think, I think we're almost out of time, that we've allotted with the network. So I think we'll wrap it up with a little G-Fest plug. We'll all be there at G-Fest. He's going to Transformers convention, right? Priorities.
Next year.
Lame! Next year.
Last appearance, folks. Last.
So I will add that G-Fest, Fresh Vinyl Live will be back at G-Fest. John, David, I've already talked to you guys about what we're going to do about that. So if anybody's ever wanted to be a part of Fresh Vinyl Live, you're going to have an opportunity. We're going to have a hot seat. You meet John, David, and the hot seat. So what's going to happen is we're going to start talking about X Plus figures, and we're going to call somebody to come up from the audience and get on stage with us and talk toys. We're going to go talk a little bit about SH Monster Arts. Somebody else is going to come up and talk with us. We're going to talk about focusing our collection, kind of much like we talked about today. Somebody else is going to come up with us. And we do have a special guest, young collector, Chris Anastasis. You know who you are. Hope I got your name right this time. But you're going to come up and talk with us, and you're going to represent the younger generation of Godzilla fans that are the up-and-comers, much like we were when I was your age. So, you know, that's going to be the big focus, is getting you guys involved with the fandom, not just sitting there in the audience and just listening to us blah, blah, blah the whole time. So I hope that's going to be fun. And then we're going to do what you bought in the dealer's room again Saturday after the dealer's room closes at G-Fest. So I'll plug some information and details about that. We'll probably do it downstairs again, right where we did it last time. So that's the plans for Fresh Vinyl at G-Fest. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Again, I'm actually getting a little bit more motivated for G-Fest now that it's getting closer and hanging out with you guys and doing this again, because this is pure motivation. This is what we love. This is what drives the hobby, drives the fandom. It's all passion. And that's my 2 cents. Has anybody got anything else before we I
do want to give a little shout out. So back when Skull Island came out,
I still haven't seen it.
To the IMAX Theater down in Providence, and I met this little 10-year-old autistic boy named Brandon and his father. Walking through the mall, I got to know Brandon and his dad, and his dad was like, nobody can keep up with Brandon, talking about kaiju and stuff like this. And I was like, I got people for him. So Brandon was on Facebook. His dad made him a page, but unfortunately Facebook took it down because it was too the age restriction or whatever. So his dad did make him a new page. It's BJ Mello. He's on my friends list. Everybody, please go say hi. He's a great little guy. He's very knowledgeable, and he just needs to be welcomed into the kaiju family.
And that's what we'll do then.
Awesome.
Bam.
Is he going to G-Fest, Jessica?
His dad did say that they wanted to try and make it this year, but if not this year, then definitely next year.
So he would benefit from being a guest on Fresh Vinyl Live too. Just wave and say hi, and that would be really cool, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I like the sound of it then. Boom.
So BJ Mello, he's on my friends list. Everybody knows me. Go find him.
And you heard it right there. The Queen of the Kaiju, Queen of the Monster Arts. Sorry. Like I said, I'm not good with names. Forgive.
Show's grown.
All right, we're gonna sign off. I think we're wrapping the show up. So thank you everybody that watched, that's still watching. Next Fresh Vinyl Live will be at G-Fest, and we will see you then. And remember, buy vinyl, fresh vinyl. And I'm gonna come close to the screen now. Don't get weird about it as I hit the stop the broadcast button. So I'll see you later.